I think it's time. Let's get into a Tottenham update because actually Fabrizio Romano has just done an update talking about Ange Postecoglou and his future at Spurs. Where is it? He says, Ange Postecoglou is not in any danger of losing his job despite Tottenham's slow start to the season. The club's project is still centred around Ange Postecoglou. Even if it has been a difficult start to the season for Tottenham, they are 100% trusting the manager, which I think is it's great, but it's not great that these things need to be said.
Definitely. And I always think it's a worrying thing when these things have to be said, even if it's
the vote of no confidence.
The dreaded vote of confidence. But obviously, look, of course, 4 games in, you'll be stupid not to trust him right now and back him and move forward with him. But as I say, we've lost 7 of the last 11. If that run continues, then I can definitely see that tune changing. But I think for now, that's got to be the party line. And look, it's 4 games in. It's a long season. Let's see how we can bounce back from this. But of course, these results can't continue.
Yeah, we've got our next 3 games in the league are Brentford, Man U and Brighton, right? Mm-hmm. Let's say we only pick up 3 points against Brentford and then lose against Man U and lose against Brighton. Will the board hold their bottle?
I don't think he'll be sacked, but I think he'll be under real big pressure.
And then you start hearing from the Athletic, the training is too hard for these players. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Next up, we're going to talk about Noah Okafor of Milan. And a Milan publication says that Tottenham have told AC Milan they are willing to offer 20 million euros plus bonuses for Noah Okafor. The deal has a good chance of happening, and negotiations between the two clubs are expected to heat up over the next few weeks.
Yeah, how's he doing at Milan at the moment, Noah Okafor? Because I know he was a lot of talk about him before he went to Milan.
He was at Salzburg, right?
And was it Basel? Was he at it was at Basel. Basel, then Salzburg. I mean, he was a promising player. I don't think he's developed amazingly at Milan, but he's not done terribly. He's now 24. He got 6 goals last season. I remember being very excited about him at Salzburg, but maybe Tottenham looking at it thinking, because he didn't have a great start, maybe Milan were willing to get rid for a cheaper price. But, I mean, 25 million would be a cheaper price. But I don't know. I don't know if he's the answer to all our problems.
Yeah, and we've got a lot of them.
Yeah.
But what's he done this season? He's played 4 games, scored a goal. Has he been starting for Milan? I mean, I know Milan haven't had a great start to the season, but they won 4-0 on the weekend against the team that just got promoted. He started 2 games and come off the bench in 1 game.
He only started 6 games last year.
6 games. Yeah.
Showing he's not really trusted there, is he?
Yeah. But, Kulusevski and Bentancur weren't... well, I guess Bentancur was, but Kulusevski was completely out of the team at Juventus when we signed him.
At the time, but Milan, he's never been in the team in Milan. That's the point.
Is this his 2nd season?
Yeah.
So last year was his 1st season, and he was brought in as a young player to make his name.
I mean, he's only 23. He's not that young.
At 23 last season. Well, we say Brendan Johnson's a young player at 22.
I'm saying 23 is not that young, though. It's not like he's a youngster.
Yeah.
At 23.
True. Well, they do have Rafael Leao in his position. Next up, we're going to... Do I want Noah Okafor? Not particularly. Let's talk about Brennan Johnson now, because Brennan Johnson deactivated his Instagram account yesterday on the back of apparently abuse that was coming his way on the back of his performance in the North London derby, which I think is, look, obviously we've criticised his performance on here quite openly, and we've criticised his start of the season as well. But when it turns into abuse and personal abuse and all this kind of stuff, it's just a step way too far, and I don't understand why this ever comes to light.
Yeah, I don't get what Tottenham fans are expecting. You're just going to send him a load of abuse and he's going to start scoring. Why feel the need to do that? I mean, it's so unnecessary, and it's disgraceful. It's disgusting, really. It's a young player trying his best. I've criticised his performance. I know he didn't play well, but I wouldn't go and send his abuse or DM him on Instagram, calling him every name under the sun just because he didn't have a good game. He's trying his best to improve. He knows what he needs to do to improve, and we just need to give him a bit more time. And whatever, even if he's not good enough for Spurs, doesn't mean that you need to abuse him. You need to send all this horrible stuff to him. Like, why do you feel the need to do that? It's only people who feel bad about themselves who feel the need to send Johnson like personal abuse. There's one thing calling him out on a public platform saying, I don't think you're good enough, all that stuff, whatever. That's just football chat. But to go over to his account and start calling him out and start abusing him, I mean, it's completely uncalled for.
Yeah. Totally agree. Couldn't agree more. We spoke about this a bit in the match review, but I'm going to bring it up again now as Cuti Romero did retweet a post from Gaston Edul claiming that the defender played versus Arsenal with a fever and bemoaning the fact that he had to make his own travel plans to return from international duty. And I'm thinking, like, this guy is on 150 grand a week, and yeah, fine. Spurs maybe should be following other clubs suit and making sure they get back as early as possible and travel in the most luxury as possible. But I guarantee you, we ain't traveling back in the economy. You know what I mean? Like, the guy is earning crazy amounts of money. If the club don't put on a private jet to bring him back, put on your own bloody private jet to come back if you think so much about it.
Yeah, I think first of all, I reckon Gaston Edul probably got this information for Romero. The fact that he retweeted it would indicate that. So clearly Romero's must be complaining about that. And for me, I just think it doesn't sit well with me, or doesn't speak of a good sign, the fact that Romero's like being this petty with these complaints. I don't think if all is well, he'd be doing that. So I'm starting to worry that something's going on behind the scenes with him. And obviously coupled the fact that he keeps making lapses of concentration on the pitch and costing us goals. When he goes off to Argentina, he seems to be playing still as well as he ever was. There's something in the air with Romero at the moment. But the reality is, we can talk about, maybe his head's in Madrid and stuff, but he keeps playing like this, he won't be going to Madrid.
Yeah.
That's the truth. So if he wants that big move, he's got to be on top of his game. Otherwise, he won't get all these big moves.
To be fair, do you not think, like, if he carries on his performances at international level and still smashing it at Argentina, I think he probably will still get the move.
I don't know. I think you're only as good as your last season, and a lot of the time. And if he's continually having these lapses in concentration and costing us week in, week out, Madrid aren't going to pay big money for him. They're not going to stump up the cash for him. He's going to need to prove that he's good enough for Madrid, and I think he is good enough for Madrid personally when he's at his best. But if he's gonna be spitting his dummy out the pram and all this kind of let whatever talk. I don't know if it is Madrid. We're obviously just speculating, but people have been questioning why his performances have been, why he keeps having these lapses in concentration. People obviously will speculate about these things, and I just think when you start hearing these petty complaints like that, I had to play with a fever. Why aren't Spurs paying for my travel from international duty, all this kind of stuff? When you start complaining about that indicates that something's not right there with the club. Because I think if he was playing well and everything was fine behind the scenes, I don't think you start complaining about these stupid things.
When you're talking about Spurs not paying for his travel and putting on a private jet, I mean, the tweet did say that other clubs do that to bring players back from South America. And whether you agree with Romero coming out and retweeting this post after the game, surely Spurs should be doing that if other clubs are doing it.
It's not like they're short of money, is it?
Yeah.
They can definitely afford to pay. I know what Spurs think. They're not travelling for our games, so why should we pay for it? So I understand that. But
they are travelling for they're coming back for our games.
They're coming back for our games, yeah. I think they should pay for it. I think I got enough money to pay for it. But I don't know. I don't know what the details are. Should Argentina be paying for the flight back? Or, they're flying out for an Argentina game, so should Argentina be sorting out all the travel? I don't know. That's a different ball game. But if all the other clubs are sorting it, I mean, there's probably a reason for that.
Yeah. And in terms of, him playing with a fever and stuff, like, surely you shouldn't be complaining about that after the game if, you've made yourself available for selection.
Seems like an excuse to me. Like, all of a sudden, because he was a fool for the goal, he was forced to play with a fever. Well, he's fine saying that in hindsight, but if that was a real issue, then say before the game and make sure you're not, like, put yourself on the bench or something, and make sure there's someone who's 100% fit playing, because if you can't just come out and hide and say, I actually had a fever, so I shouldn't have been playing. I mean, that's what he's insinuating. He doesn't say that. He just say maybe he wants appreciation, the fact that he played through a fever or something. But I'm just saying, if you're not 100%, then let the club know that you're not feeling well, and someone else can take your place. Don't be strong for the team. Don't think you're doing us a favour by playing with a fever. Yeah,
and we did hear last week, we spoke about potential contract negotiations for Cuti Romero. I just feel like I agree with you. I think there's something brewing here with Romero.
Yeah, well, you don't make these complaints unless there is something brewing.
Yeah.
That's what I'm worried about. Look, let's hope we can put this all behind us and he starts playing well again. But these little petty complaints that I just feel like if everything's okay, you don't make them.
Yeah, and he's always like the first to come out on social media as well after the game saying, "Oh, we didn't win this one,
he
but
did.
if
He did
this
do a
team,"
post.
I know, I'm saying
Yeah.
like he's always the first one to do these kind of posts, but I just feel like that's his media team just trying to spin a narrative kind of thing. And last but not least, we're going to talk about David Pleat again because we heard a lot of discourse after David Pleat lost his job at Spurs and Spurs didn't put his book in the shop and everything like that. But apparently the Trust, Martin from the Trust, has come out and said that Tottenham are now supporting David Pleat in his bid to raise money through his book for motor neuron disease charities, and also did host him for the North London derby. So classic Spurs, when they get pushed back on social media,
Then all of a sudden,
they go back on the wrongs that they did.
But fair play to the fans who do give the pushback and force Tottenham to do something, because it wasn't right. It didn't sit right with me, hearing David Pleat talk about how they wouldn't even give him a ticket for a game or anything, let alone help promote his book or anything like that. So fair play to the fans.
There must have been a ticket available.
Yeah, exactly. Someone must have pulled out last minute. So fair play to the fans who push back on it and force the club to do something.
Yeah. All right. So that is your Tottenham update.